Around the Table with Vickie. Just like gathering around the dinner table with loved ones and friends, we're here to share stories, insight, and inspiration.
Well, welcome everyone, and thank you for listening to another episode of Around the Table with Vickie. I am your co-host, Chris Runk, and as always, to my right is my mother, Vickie Runk.
Hi, everybody. I'm excited to have a great friend with us today. Why don't you introduce?
Sure. Yeah, we're gonna hit this episode, and we're gonna get to talk about music today, which I'm super excited about. I love music, and we're gonna talk about the Lynchburg Symphony Orchestra.
And the great lady that has taken a new position there that I know is going to do a great job. So let's get her introduced.
Yeah, but in order to talk about the symphony, we got to bring in the director, Mom.
That's right.
Which is Ula Kauppi. As a volunteer, Ula has shared her talents with the Lynchburg City Schools in many capacities. She was one of the founders of the BHS Helping Hands, a food backpack program, which grew up to become Parkview Community Missions Food for Thought. She has also volunteered as a marketing coordinator for the Glass Theater and created social media presence for the LCS Education Foundation. Currently, Ula holds a board position at the Academy Center of the Arts and the Association of Fundraising Professionals. A lifelong patron of the arts who has an affinity for rock concerts, Ula has called Lynchburg home since 2004 alongside her husband, Alan. They are proud to have raised 3 wonderful children, now accomplished young adults, who all participated in the Lynchburg City Schools Strings program.
They did?
Wow. That's a great, we're going to have a lot to talk about today.
Absolutely.
It's going to be exciting. First of all, I just want to say that your husband is our family endocrinologist, and we were just talking about him, so we won't say too much about him, but
he loves y'all.
He is an
really
amazing doctor that really pours himself into the community as well. So it's only natural that he has a great woman behind him. And now that I've met you and read your bio and got to know you a little bit, I can understand why he's such a great man.
Thank you.
So tell the community, because we're on radio, as you know, WLNI and tell me all the stations, Christopher.
TRV.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
Virginia Talk Radio.
Yeah, so I know the community is going to want to know, because so many times we as community members, we'll look at an ad and we'll think, oh, that looks pretty neat, but I'm not sure I can get my husband to go with me. Or maybe I could get a friend to go. But what do you say to those community members that have never really dipped their toe into going and listening to this symphony or attending anything at the academy? Like, what do you say to them? Let's get out and enjoy, right?
Yes, thank you so much for asking that, because that is really one of my big goals and my visions for the symphony. I think everyone should feel ownership of the symphony. It is for everyone. It's not just for fancy people or, any certain demographic. Classical music can speak to so many emotions and so many contemporary feelings that we have and things that we deal with. And it's just a beautiful way to spend an evening, and everyone is welcome at the symphony. And I do mean everyone. You don't have to dress fancy. You don't have to behave a certain way. One thing I know people really worry about is, how will I know when to clap or whatever? And I just want to reassure everybody that it doesn't matter.
Right. We just follow the crowd anyway, right?
Just follow the crowd. We just want you to come and enjoy it. And I had a conversation with our conductor, David Glover, about this just recently. And he said, if somebody is clapping, then I know they're listening and they are enjoying it. And that makes me feel good, even if they're clapping at, maybe a time that's supposed to be quiet.
Right.
We are not worried about that at all. It's open to everyone.
Right. And I know with what we do with senior citizens, I would love to see our seniors that are living alone or living still with their spouses, their children aren't as involved anymore. Just really get on your schedule and seek out places that they can go and just be entertained. And what that does for our psyche and soul is just an enormous benefit to us. So if somebody's listening out there, just like Ula said, and you just don't feel like, oh no, for my mom, sometimes she'll say, I don't know if I have a thing to wear.
Does not matter.
It doesn't matter. Just come and enjoy. So we're excited to hear. What big things do you have on the schedule this year that the community can get excited about?
We have a wonderful season planned. It's very there's a lot of variety, and I think there's something that's going to appeal to everyone. So we actually just did a performance this weekend out at the Shenandoah Valley Music Festival. That was so exciting. We performed, and we had some professional vocalists that sang with us some 80s hits, and we had the symphony backing them up, and it was so much fun. The energy in the crowd was crazy. People were dancing in the aisles, no exaggeration. And then we have our regular season coming up at the Academy Center for the Arts. We have 4 shows planned. The first one is in September 28th. At 7:30 p.m., we will be celebrating a birthday because Rhapsody in Blue, very familiar tune. And if you don't think you've heard it, you've heard it. Just Google it. Rhapsody in Blue is turning 100 this year. Wow. So we have a local pianist, a very renowned pianist and piano teacher, Emily Yapchua, who will be guest starring with us and playing Rhapsody in Blue, among a few other pieces as well. And then in December the 7th at 7:30, we have Happy Holidays with the LSO.
Oh, and that's so much fun.
Yes.
You should always go at the holidays to the Academy anyway. Yes.
Definitely. It's gets me in the holiday spirit to hear those familiar, comforting holiday classics. And we have a special appearance with a guest that we've arranged for, and he lives at the North Pole. So I don't want to give too much away, but
how exciting!
Yes. So he will be there, and I think he might be bringing one of his elves too. Yep. So we're really excited about that. You got to have some
major pull to pull that off.
I've got connections.
Yes,
I've got
obviously.
connections. Yes. And then in March, I'm really excited about our March concert because it's so different. It's going to be called Cirque de la Symphonie, which is the melding of circus and symphony, believe it or not. Right there on the Academy stage, we will have our symphony, but we will also have circus performers. We will have aerialists, acrobats, and I just think it's going to be a real treat for the eyes and the ears.
It might be something you have to do annually if you get so much response.
I am sure that we could probably arrange that. But so come out to see that.
Go ahead and purchase our tickets.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I will.
You can.
Right after the show.
They're all live. And then in May, wrapping up the season is something I'm very excited about. Virgil Moore is a Lynchburg guy, grew up here, went to the Lynchburg City Schools, did the Lynchburg City Strings program, which is a wonderful violin education program at the schools that is open to everyone. He graduated, he did that all the way through his senior year, showed some really amazing talent. And I mean, I'm not exaggerating, like he's got a lot of talent. So he went on to study violin performance in college at Mercer University in Macon, Georgia, and is currently getting his master's degree at Juilliard. And I mean, the Juilliard.
Yes.
So he is going to come back, and we're calling it Homecoming because he'll be coming home.
Yeah.
And he's going to be performing with us a selection from the West Side Story Suite, which is, exciting just in that aspect of it. But we can't wait to have him here.
Yeah. And how wonderful he must feel coming back to his hometown and just being on stage with so many great memories, and also just the folks in the audience that's going to be able to support.
Exactly.
I love
Full
that.
circle. We want everybody to come out and show him some love. Yeah.
So talking about the Lynchburg Strings, for the younger group that may be listening, or parents that want to get their children involved.
Yeah.
I know you had shared with me earlier that your children was involved. What kind of advice would you give to a parent if they know they've got a talented child, and which way to steer them so that one day they may be playing in the Lynchburg Symphony?
Right. We do have a program that is affiliated with the Lynchburg Symphony Orchestra called Lynchburg Symphony Youth Orchestra. So that is for the more advanced players that have come up through the schools. And many schools offer violin training, and of course, a lot of kids have private violin lessons. So this is open to any students, private school, home school, public school, doesn't matter. City, county, but there's an audition only program, and they can do that when they're in middle school. As far as starting earlier, I started all my kids in kindergarten and first grade, and we had the egg carton and the pencil. That's how you first learn to bow the violin, and it was just such an experience. But I would definitely give your kid a chance, to try that out, and once they get to third grade, parent doesn't even have to be there with them.
Yeah.
So it's totally something you can do just through the city schools.
Wonderful. And let's talk a little bit about your experience with nonprofits. Tell our listeners, because I know we touched on it just briefly reading your bio, but tell our listeners, what kind of heart you have for the Lynchburg community and where all that came from.
Yeah. So going way back, unfortunately, way back, I came out of college and started working in the IT field. I worked as a computer programmer and project manager, lived in Atlanta at the time. And that was great. It kind of helped put my husband through medical school, actually. And
see, I told you behind every great man.
Yeah, that's right. It is true. It is true. And then we moved to Lynchburg around the time that my husband had completed all his training, which takes a long time. And this was 20 years ago. We moved here. We had 2 children at the time. I decided to be a stay-at-home mom for a while. I'd always intended to go back to work, but it kind of kept stretching out just for various reasons. We had another child.
Yes.
And so when my kids started getting to the age where they didn't need me so intensely all the time, I really had always had, professional dreams for myself. But I kind of wanted to go to do a second career thing, which is very common.
Yes, it is.
Especially for people in my age group. And so I just kind of fell into it. I had started volunteering. Going back to your pageant.
Yes, that's right.
Volunteering is such a good way to dip your toe.
It is something that we're slowly losing with our youth.
Yes.
And so I think, to drive that home, and it's always good to volunteer a little bit before you decide what you want your profession to be.
Yes, definitely. And that's a great way to learn about it. And then my friends and I, started working on this backpack program. And then I just learned more and more about the paperwork that's behind it, running a nonprofit. It's a lot more complex than people realize.
It really is.
And then I just had happened to run into a friend. Shout out to Lara. I was at a restaurant or something, and she said, "Hey, I'm looking for somebody part-time to help out with development." And I was like, "What's development?"
Yeah.
and she explained to me that it was about, fundraising and building relationships for a nonprofit organization and making sure that they have the resources that they need, whether that's money or volunteers or whatever. And she said, I could need somebody to come in and be an assistant. And I was like, well, I can do that, for 10 or 12 hours a week. And it was a good way to just slowly inch my way back into working. And that very quickly snowballed into, as soon as you show that you have some talent and some interest in that area, people will snap you up. And I continued to progress.
Well, it's a world that really is hard to find those. Number one, the right heart.
It is.
And then number 2, with the skills to do it.
That's right. Yeah, for sure. And I ended up ultimately in the next few years becoming the director of development at the Free Clinic, which is where I started. And then went from there to the United Way of Central Virginia, again, as director of development. Learned so much more about just all of the great nonprofits that exist in our city, and how to fund those kinds of initiatives. And then I heard about the executive director position, and that's kind of what I was working towards.
Right.
And I was like, well, I need to at least see. I need to at least see if they might be interested in me, and they were.
Oh, of course, of course. Well, I think it's a great fit, especially knowing your family loves music so much.
Yes.
And you kind of ingrain that
definitely
in them. I think it's a great fit. I'm sure the kids are proud of Mom as well.
Oh, I hope so. I think they are.
Yes. So tell us, as a community, some things that the Lynchburg Symphony may need to where, we can rally around, and if there's anything we can do, like different businesses that are listening today, like things that you guys might need.
Yes. We, so believe it or not, in the orchestra world, your ticketed revenue, when people will think that, okay, well, you put on this show and you sell tickets and then that pays for it. Well, it's not true. And so we seek sponsors, corporate sponsors, individual sponsors, for each of our shows. And I have a sponsorship packet that I'd be happy to email to anybody who wants to get in touch with me.
Go ahead and tell them your email while we got there.
Sure. My email is Ula, ULA, at lynchburgsymphony.org. lynchburgsymphony.org. It's
Okay,
really
that's
easy.
pretty easy. That's right.
And then we have a website. Also, you can contact me through there, and that's just www.lynchburgsymphony.org.
Okay.
So we need sponsorships. Our ticketed revenue covers about 30% of our yearly operating budget, and that's actually a pretty good percentage among orchestras, which shows that we have some support in this community. But I would say that the way to get started helping the symphony is come to a show, and see what it's all about.
Yes,
and fall in love with the music and with the people. Our conductor David has so much personality, and people just really can't get enough when they see him in action.
Right.
And then our musicians are so wonderful, and I'm getting to know all of them personally on an individual level, and it's been amazing. And I just would encourage everyone.
They give a lot of themselves as well.
They do. Now, they are all professionals, so they're all paid. And I just, I think that's important for people to know that you're getting a professional quality, production when you come to a symphony. And so that's part of our costs. So, so we start out by coming, and then think about maybe donating, your finances if you are able. Just to help it continue, because we want to keep it going.
Right. And in order to have a strong community, I think the arts is just something, and again, this isn't everything, this kind of thing isn't in everybody's wheelhouse.
Right.
So when we're talking today, we want to incorporate news that will draw that person that's maybe sitting at home and need a little something to do and just wants to give it a try.
Yes, definitely. The arts are so important. There's been so much research about how the arts can help people through so many things, and depression. We all are struggling with depression, anxiety, mental illness, and just feeling like there's no hope. And I strongly believe that music, listening to beautiful music, can give you that hope and just give you 2 hours out of your day to just sit and listen and enjoy.
Fill your soul.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I know that during COVID, the Lynchburg Symphony, came and did the window visits with our residents at Runkin Pratt. And I never will forget, watching back some of the video that was taken, and I was able to look at their faces. And you're right. What I saw in them was there's hope that I'm going to get out of here one day.
Yes,
And that the music just, soothed their soul. And we just had such a great time welcoming them in. And I thought it was wonderful that everybody would take their time and come and do that.
Definitely. And I have to give a shout out, since you mentioned that, to my predecessor, Mike Lewis.
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful man. And he
really
just retired May 31st, which is why I'm now the executive director. And but he came up with a lot of those creative ideas for ways to keep the symphony engaged out in the community when we couldn't have concerts, and we couldn't have gatherings. And so, that was one of the things he came up with.
Music is just a forever. Like, it's not going anywhere.
Right.
Even if we can't sing, we can turn the radio on and pretend we can in the shower. Close the doors real tight.
Yes, I sing a lot in the car and in the shower, but not in front of people.
No, but there is something that makes you feel so much better when you're able. And some of the songs actually have words that speak to you and help what kind of anxiety you've got going on or whatever.
Yes.
Well, in our senior population, music therapy
is
huge.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with Alzheimer's and dementia patients, they may not remember what they did yesterday, but they remember a song back from 1950, and they know every word of it.
That's so amazing to me. Like, I just think that's mind blowing.
Yeah, the power of music is incredible.
Yes, definitely.
So far, being director, what's been one of your most favorite memorable moments or achievements that you've accomplished so far?
Oh, 100%. It was this past weekend. Just being able to try. It's just so exciting that the little old Lynchburg, that our symphony orchestra traveled to this festival. That, I mean, some of the other names there were like Dionne Warwick, and Marty Stewart, Oak Ridge Boys. I mean, and we were...
You were in the big time.
I know. And just, there were many, many moving parts. I will tell you, this is on a humorous note, Friday, when we had the Microsoft outage, that was the day that all my guest artists were flying in.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course is how it works. Of course.
And that was interesting, but they all got here. I don't know how.
You passed a test of stress for the day.
Yes. And they all got here. They, everything went fine. There were some delays, there were some flight changes required, but they made it here, and just the energy in the room again is just people enjoying music together, which is one reason why I like to go to rock concerts, which was you mentioned that for my bio. But just a room of people enjoying any kind of music together. There's something very uniting and very heartwarming about that.
It's the connection that's made because. Again, music is something that nobody hates. It's something everybody loves. And we all have our favorite, right? And you mentioned rock was yours.
I know.
What's your favorite band? I got to ask.
So what I listen to in the car and what I go see live in a concert are two very different things.
Yeah.
But I will mention that I've seen Def Leppard in concert about 9 times.
Oh, wow.
With my husband. We've seen Van Halen a whole bunch of times. We've seen Poison. I mean, it's a thing with us. We started in 1991. I don't really want to say what year, but we started doing that in 1991 when we first started dating. We just started going to concerts together, and
I can't see Dr. Kauppi at a rock concert.
Yeah, we'll have to take you with us sometime. I mean, because we love it.
Christopher and I, it was on his bucket list to go to Coldplay.
Yes.
And so we did make a trip to Washington,
That's my
D.C.
favorite band.
I have not
Love
seen
Coldplay.
them.
A phenomenal show. Sold out FedEx Field.
I'm jealous.
I actually enjoyed it. I didn't think I would, but I loved every moment of it.
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah.
Mom surprised me with tickets as a Christmas gift.
Oh, that's so nice.
We all went. And she didn't just get tickets. She got down in the pit. So right there by the stage, Chris Martin's running up and down. It was superb.
I think that's when we started doing more because I saw the kids really enjoyed it, not just him, but the other two as well. And I thought, I think I might have been holding them back all these years.
We've taken our kids to a couple of concerts here and there too.
And then I recently got to go see Winona Judd.
Oh wow!
And I actually got to. She talked to me from the stage, and I was just, oh yes, it's me. But so we are really starting to do a lot more traveling and see different genres as well.
Caitlin saw the Jonas Brothers last year.
Caitlin got to see the Jonas Brothers.
Yeah.
Right, it was in Orlando, correct? Yes.
Oh wow!
I have to say I enjoyed that as well.
I had a good time too. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, so it does bring a lot of joy into our hearts and minds. And so as the Academy begins to grow and branch out, which we both have a love for the Academy.
Definitely.
What do you see the symphony as far as future growth?
Yeah. Well, we really want to be able to do more shows, and maybe travel a little bit more. All those things cost money. So my primary focus this year is just growing the funding if possible. But I would love to see us be able to go out and travel a little bit more, do more shows at the Academy. And we are so thankful to be a resident company of the Academy Center of the Arts. I think the Academy has done some amazing things. I am on the board, so I am biased.
Well,
but
I actually, from just being a community member, I would totally agree with that.
Yeah.
And we've joined with the Academy this year to do some things with senior living.
Yes.
The arts program that they have going for dementia and Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And it's not just in our communities, it's in different assisted livings throughout Lynchburg, which I loved so much of that. And just getting to know their desire, again, to help people, which I think is a common theme that we're talking about, whether it's the symphony or the fine arts programs that are at the Academy. It's really about bringing people together, connecting them, and helping lift their spirits at the end of the day. Would you say the same?
Definitely I would. And just very thankful to, when my husband and I were thinking to move from Atlanta we wanted to move to a smaller city. And one of the things we looked into when we were looking at the different choices that we had is that what is the cultural, what is the cultural feeling there? Is there an opportunity to see great performances, to enjoy live music, to see theater? That was really important to us. And I think it's important to a lot of people. And one thing people don't focus on is the arts are so important to workforce development. If you want to get, a highly educated workforce to come work for your company here in Lynchburg, you need to be supporting the arts because
we got to have something on the weekend for them to do after they've worked so hard during the week. Yeah,
exactly.
And I think too, thinking about our youth, because we had the Jubilee Center on not long ago, Sterling Wilder, and we're involved with them as well. But getting our youth to partake and input into more positive things. And what could be more positive than the arts? And you have so much fun at it as well.
Yes.
And I've heard some kids say, I didn't even know I could do that. And now they're dancing and, acting, and their time is well spent.
It starts when they're young. That's what and if we want to if the symphony wants to have excellent symphony players to come up and join the symphony, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, it starts with having quality art education in the schools, so that we're bringing up that next generation of performers.
Well, and it sounds like with what you've done in the school system too. Tell us a little bit about your background with the school system.
Oh yeah, I volunteered a lot. Again, that was the volunteering just to kind of get back into the workforce. But I had 3 kids going to Lynchburg City Schools. They went to Bedford Hills Elementary, Lincoln Middle, and Glass. And because of that, I wanted to be where they were, obviously. And so I did most of my volunteering in those organizations, in those schools. And it's been a real journey for me. And I think it's interesting. I feel like a lot of little bits and pieces of what I've done throughout my life, like say the last 20 or 25 years, have led me to where I am now.
Yeah. I love that.
It's really interesting.
And that's encouraging too for women that have raised their children.
Yes.
And now they're saying, what do I do with my time?
Yes.
But they're still so able to go and major in something that they love, get back into the workforce, and really become a vital part of our communities.
Yes. I think women who have had a period of being at home, that's wonderful. And of course, that's a very personal decision. I don't have any strong feelings either way of what they should do. But once your children have, grown up, you've raised your children, don't forget that your community still needs you, and the workforce still needs you. Like we need women in the workforce.
We need
we have
someone
a different
with experience.
perspective.
Yes, life experience.
Yes,
there is
exactly.
we can all go to school, and I love education, and I'm all for it. I talk it with our young girls all the time in the pageant system. But there is something to be said about a woman with life experience.
For sure. And we need that unique perspective that women offer. And I've actually pushed a couple of my friends. I won't name any names, but I've actually pushed a couple of my friends back into the workforce. Like, come on, come work with me. I've hired 2.
That's awesome.
Over the past several years, just to come on. I know you're really organized, or I know you're really great at communicating with people. You need to come apply that to,
and
something that helps our
down on
community.
Stress and anxiety in a woman's life too, to feel needed, and to feel vital.
Exactly,
which is so important.
And I'm so proud of my friends that have, those. I'm thinking of 2 specific people, and they probably know who they are if they're listening to this.
Congratulations to the friends for listening to Ula.
Yes.
Well, unfortunately, we're almost out of time today, but thank you so much for joining us here on the show, talking about all things Lynchburg Symphony Orchestra. Go follow. Where can we? What's the website we can check out one last time?
Yeah, our website is lynchburgsymphony.org, and then our social media, we're on Facebook and Instagram, and the handle is Lynchburg Symphony. So pretty easy to remember, but definitely check us out.
Everybody go buy those tickets, especially to the Christmas show, because I'll be there.
Yes, just go to our website. There's a current season link, and you can go get your tickets so that you get the seats you want.
Let's keep the symphony going.
Let's do it. Mom, as always, we know you like to end each show with a special quote, so I know you got one for us today.
I have one special just for our Lynchburg Symphony family. This was written by Sarah Dessen. And it says, music is the great uniter, an incredible force, something that people who differ on everything and anything else can have in common. So please go join all of the Lynchburg Symphony events that's coming up. There's 4 more over the next year and then to 25. Get on the Academy of Arts website, and you can check out all the ways you can find tickets. And if you come to a symphony and I'm there, make sure you say hi and you watch the show so that Ula can know whether we have her back again next year, which we will. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.